Yo, so I got sued today. I need a lawyer. This is going to be expensive as fuck. This looks expensive. We just got to raise the money. I will not be using Bradel or Betero as lead counsel for this. I can tell you that much right now. That is one thing I feel very confident in. They don't have the time for this. They don't have the bandwidth. And we are going to prosecute the McAlberts for murder. So I got sued today. I need a lawyer. This is going to be expensive as fuck. This looks expensive. We just got to raise the money. I will not be using Bradel or Betero as lead counsel for this. I can tell you that much right now. That is one thing I feel very confident in. They don't have the time for this. They don't have the bandwidth. And we are going to prosecute the McAlberts for murder.
What? What is up, guys? Welcome out to Truth and Transparency. Turtleboy, the blackmail episode. Why Alan Jackson did Turtleboy's live show. Also, why I believe Yannetti is showing up there on May 17th, 2026 to advocate, help Turtleboy raise some funds. What is up, guys? Come on in. All right. So this is why this is even happening. A subscriber, maybe even a member, had wrote me an email too, to be exact, and wanted to let me know that I had the facts wrong with the Aiden Carney case, that my timeline was off, and quite specifically, first of all, mutual respect, very, very much so appreciate this woman. But she said, thank you so much for being open to take a look at the info I let you know about a little while ago this morning on your live. And it was, we are totally on the same page. And she's saying that Karen Reed being factually innocent, 1000% Karen Reed should have been found not guilty. I cannot express it enough that the investigation into the murder of John O'Keefe, or the unattended death which led to this murder, nobody can be charged. Nobody, because of this investigation. Anyways, so she wanted me to know that on my live, that I have this timeline all wrong, and that, but she's like, but I disagree about her team, Karen Reed's team, doing anything truly unethical and zealously representing Karen Reed. Well, I was right there with you, sister. But I've been covering the Aiden Carney criminal aspect of it. So I am going to, and I already did it. Here we go. So I took, I don't even know how many hours yesterday, and I don't even know how many hours today, putting together one of the most comprehensive, very easy to understand timelines. So how I did this is, again, this is the blackmail show, the blackmail episode. Why Alan Jackson would ever do the Turtleboy show? Why would he ever do that show? Well, here you go. So we're going to do this two ways. I have clips to show you, as well as this lovely Excel spreadsheet. Okay, now you're going to be amazed out there. Maybe you won't be. So here we go. We're going to do this a bunch of different ways, but very important to understand that this timeline is going to start, obviously, right here with, you know what? Let me make this a little bit larger. Okay. June of 2022, right up here. Karen Reed is indicted. Okay, that's a fact. Now, my question that I wanted to ask all of you, and I already have the answer, but ask yourself just in your little brains, when did Karen receive John O'Keefe's iPhone extraction or his imaging of his cell phone? Well, Lana, why does this matter? Well, so what I went and pulled out is I pulled out the discovery, every single piece. So if you guys were following me in the Karen Reed case, I put together the Karen Reed discovery, and this is the notices of discoveries, every single one of them. Okay. And now if you go to the notice of discovery, right 7, it's 8 right here. The copy of the forensic image of John O'Keefe's cellular telephone. So the image of his cell phone. It was given to Karen Reed February 8th, 2023. You see that? Okay. Now, well, Lana, why is that important? I'm going to show you why that's important. Because it would be in that device when Karen Reed would finally get her hands on it and her team get their hands on it, they would come across right here. Because I said, I want to know when Karen Reed and her team found out about the text messages that John O'Keefe had sent to Julie Albert. And it was showing one of Turtleboy's blogs. Okay. And in response, Julie Albert said her biggest fear was ending up on Turtleboy blogging about her. Now, I said, did this lead to Karen Reed and her team starting to research, like, well, what's this Turtleboy? What is this? What is this? Well, I answered my own question and I said, well, February 8th, 2023, the discovery notice for the Commonwealth, the 8th discovery notice, and is the copy of the forensic image of John O'Keefe's cellular telephone was given to Karen Reed. That means that literally 2 months before Aidan Carney would ever write an article in this case, Karen Reed just found out. And here you can start going through John's cell phone. Before that, the only thing that Karen Reed had access to was to the 28th and to the 29th. Okay. Now, next, on 4/12/2023, the defense filed that Rule 17 motion, the Albert's phone, with unredacted exhibits. Basically, it was a refile from something that happened in 2022. But in addition to it, on this go round, they were adding Alan Jackson's affidavit. They were adding Green. Okay. But this is basically a public docket. Here you go. Which Turtleboy, he's then provided with these numbers. Okay. These cell phone numbers, the call logs. Okay. Because it was unredacted. That's on 4/12/2023 due to the filing. Now, literally within 12 hours, Natalie reaches out to Jennifer Altman in a Facebook message talking about Turtleboy. And then literally there was a Facebook post by Aidan Carney laying the fake groundwork for sources when he's talking about that he's going to start talking about the Karen Reed case and he believes that this was a big cover up. Okay. Now, this would be what I would consider a heads up that he is going to cover the Karen Reed case. Chris Albert reaches out. Yes. Tries to get in touch with Turtleboy. Aidan immediately and forever ignores a source on the opposite side. If you're covering this case as an independent journalist, the last thing that you would ever do is to ignore a source that's involved in this case. That's the last thing that you would ever do. If you are independently, I'm even going to tell you this, even if you're not independently doing it, why wouldn't you try to, I don't know, talk to the man, get whatever you can out of him, right? But nope. Turtleboy wants nothing to do with Chris Albert. But that doesn't sound like an independent investigation for himself, journalism-wise, right? Now, on 4/17/2023, Turtleboy is texting back and forth with Natalie, which is basically texting with Karen Reed. Turtleboy knows nothing about this case. It is like literally, Turtleboy drops his first blog in the middle of the night. So technically it would be like the 18th. And literally at 2 a.m., Karen Reed's team is all up, which on the West Coast, okay, it's not that late, whatever. But it's like 3 a.m. And they made 29 edits. Redlining. Karen Reed and her lawyers are literally redlining Turtleboy's blog. And it's 29 edits. You're part of this. You're part of the editing team. Okay. Now, 4/20/2023. When all of this is going to matter, is you're going to see that Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, they reach out to Turtleboy and they want a call. Okay. And so Turtleboy on 4/20/2023, and this is in like this lovely orange color, red color, whatever you want to call it. Very, very important date here. 4/20/2023, very, very important date for this. Okay. So why it's important is because what Turtleboy would then produce and publish on 4/20, which was his very first blog. Okay. And not his very first of the case. It would be blog number 4. And this blog is the very, very first time that, and this is what leads to the blackmail recorded call that Turtleboy sent to Lauren. But Turtleboy recorded the phone call that he had. Because in this phone call, Aidan Kearney blogs about the federal investigation for the first time. No other outlet is reporting the federal investigation. None. The source is Turtleboy Daily blog, and it's the Can't Cover Up 4 story. And now I'm going to show you. I'm going to go over here to good old Hector. Cherie! What's up, girl? Thank you. We got a new member there. Thank you there. New member. Oh, what's up? Welcome. What is up? Here you go. So going over to now. Whoopsies. We're going to use Hector for a second. I want to show you something because, again, the reason I did all of this is I really value this girl. So here, 4/17, this is beginning the back and forth text messages between like Natalie and Turtleboy. They're sending him a bunch of stuff. Okay. He's staying up. He ends up producing this, and it ends up being the 4/18 date, like I told you guys, in the middle of the night. And so there's his first article, Aidan Kearney, April 18th, 2023, Canton Cover Up Part 1. Okay. It's the 18th because technically it's after the midnight hour. Then after they read it and after they redline it, okay, they love it. It's incredible. Okay. 3:07 a.m. Now, 4/20, Canton Cover Up Part 4. 4/20/2023. Canton Cover Up Part 4. Multiple witnesses in home where John O'Keefe was killed, subpoenaed by federal grand jury. FBI visits homes, basement floor reportedly replaced. Okay. Like, whoa. Whoa. Wait, what did you just say happened on that day? Well, Alan Jackson wants to have a phone call, and so does Yannetti with Turtleboy. And there's the text messages, and then a phone call is had. And then this is what is produced on 4/20/2023. Canton cover up part 4. Now, you should be asking yourselves right now. Without a doubt, there is no doubt in anybody's mind here, but I'm going to make sure it's black and white. Turtleboy's source for everything is Karen Reed and Karen Reed's attorneys, to include this. Now, what everybody should be asking themselves is how in the world does Alan Jackson and David Yannetti and Karen Reed and the rest of the team know about a federal grand jury? How do they know about the feds investigating? How do they know any of this? Now, the girl that told me to look, that I was wrong, said, you have the timeline all wrong. And her timeline began in May. May 18th, look at the DA's writing these letters. They knew. No, you guys, this is why the DA starts writing the letters. Ready? So it's because did I tell you guys Alan Jackson was a prosecutor in LA? Come on, you guys know this. Did I tell you that he ran to be a district attorney? I'm a fan of Alan Jackson. But this is why defense attorneys would ever engage in something like this, okay, is because they feel that they have no choice, right? That's what they're going to say. Like, that's what people are out there going to say. Well, the ends justifies the means. No. Because then you just become the corrupt machine that you're fighting. Now, but hang tight. Here you go. So Aiden Carney. Well, you have to start asking yourself, if you guys believe that Aiden Carney, like the girl that wrote me, I believe that Aiden's heart was in the right place. He was believing in everything that he's saying. He should not go to jail, blah, blah. He's already served enough time. He already took 2 months away. And I'm just like, I'm going to stop you right there. Aiden Carney, this is his MO. Alan Jackson. So what I went to the beginning is that Karen Reed got those phone records, got the whole phone of John, saw the text messaging. Who's Turtleboy? Because they're looking up if there's any communications between John and any of these people. They come across Julie Alberts and John O'Keefe's text messages. Julie Albert says, my biggest fear, my biggest nightmare would ever be to have Turtleboy blog about me. And then within 2 months of that phone being turned over, the image of it, Turtleboy blogging about him. Okay. Now, one would have to fast forward and this is just a flash forward because I'm going to come right back to it. And you would have to use September 17th as a date when Karen Reed in messages tells Turtleboy that there was a neighbor that has ring of him leaving the house at 2:30 in the morning. Okay. Please don't mention any of this, to anyone always, but they wouldn't hand this over to us. So we called the feds. Okay. Because we're going to get to when Turtleboy tries to act like he's being like, your version of everything, which is May 7th, 2023, doesn't make any sense. And I'm starting to lose trust. So, a bunch of things. So we're going to come back to this, but just keep this in mind right here. Now, and this all led to an hour and 1 minute and 30-second phone call then being had on a voice call between Aiden and Karen back in September 17th. Now, but we're going to come back on over to here. Okay. And the whole point of this is this blackmail. What's Aiden Carney's blackmail, Lana? Well, we're going to get all into that shit. Okay. So we're back on over here. So Alan Jackson, David Yannetti reach out to Turtleboy. They want to call. The blackmail recorded call. I on that recorded call, that's where Aiden Carney made insurance policies. Aiden Carney recorded that conversation. Aiden Carney has proof. Okay. Aiden Carney has proof of what transpired during that conversation, which would be AKA that the lawyers are the source to Aiden Carney's reporting of this federal investigation. Now, Lana, everyone's going to say, it doesn't matter. They can talk. They can do whatever. That's not the point, because you're missing it, because now you got to really listen up. Okay. That's not the problem. They can do that, right? They want to tell them whatever, act like they don't talk, whatever. This is what you can't do. This is the part you cannot do. This is the part that gets your ass in a lot of hot water. So much hot water that Alan Jackson and David Yannetti waited 6 or 7 months to try to pull off one of the biggest stunts that I've ever seen. And I have to give them credit for it because it's really interesting. But hang tight. Now, so remind yourselves this. On 420, nobody is reporting about this federal investigation, just Aiden. Then on 422 at 11:17 a.m., Alan Jackson texts Aiden Carney asking him to call. Aiden texts back at 4:07 saying, oh, I just got this, you know. Then Aiden Carney goes live on YouTube on 4/22/2023. And now the part of all of this that you really need to understand is this is where Aiden Carney calls witnesses on his live using the federal investigation to intimidate, harass, and influence. That is the pow-pow right there. Aiden Carney was calling them. And when he was calling them, it wasn't just about, you know, he was using a scare tactic with this federal investigation, okay, and using it as a way to intimidate, harass, and influence witnesses. The federal investigation was used that way. That was Aiden Carney's purpose, though. Alan Jackson does his homework. He doesn't get to where he's at, okay? This is his MO. And they began to know who Turtleboy was in February. When they were going through, they see, oh, what, Turtleboy. So then they start researching who's Turtleboy. And they start paying attention, and they start looking at all of his blogs and seeing what the fuck he does and who is this guy? Why is Julie Albert over here saying, oh my God, it'd be the death of me if this man blogs about me? Julie Albert saying that in a text message to John O'Keefe. Karen Reed and her attorneys are reading that shit 2 months before Aiden Carney starts ripping it. And what type of, you have to like really build trust with somebody. So I want you to think about something. You're going to trust telling Aiden Carney about a federal investigation. Okay. That's not the who cares about that part. But then you're going to have to really trust when you go into court 13 days later and you fucking use Aiden Carney's reporting on April 20th to stand up in front of Beverly Canone and say, and bang on the fucking car, it's been reported that the feds are involved. And Karen Reed should not have to wait for the feds and to see whose heads are going to roll. This argument was used to try to persuade Judge Beverly Canone to open up the floodgates to Brian Albert's phone and whatever else they were asking for in that motion, in that Rule 17 motion hearing. Now, I'm going to play you guys a clip. Yeah, I like to think that I helped Kate Peters out on some of her timeline. I recommend that. I cannot believe that her one video only has 7,000 views. Now, we're going to use, because it matters. So, back in, okay. Now, on that live on 4/22/2023, David Yannetti corrects his name to Aiden in a text and then says priceless about the show to Aiden in a text. And I like the total reporting. And then follows up with, I love how you followed up with, this proves I am not talking to him. Okay. And now the question that should be on everybody's mind, and it is when people want to say, like, it's okay for them to be talking, like, and they don't have to tell anybody. They can lie about who they talk to. Okay. You ready? Sure. Yeah, you can. Right on. But I'm going to show you why in this situation it matters, because of what they put in writing, because of what they oral argue to. And here it is. So now think about this, building this trust, right? On April 28th, Karen Reed wants Aiden Carney discussing the federal investigation more. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, hello? Like, why aren't you talking about this federal investigation? Okay, like, do you not know the assignment, motherfucker? And you can go click on episode 577, The Canton Crazies Continue. Okay. And I'm not going to make you click on it. Like, I'm just going to click on it for you right now. And when you do this, and I'm going to share a screen, and you go to The Canton Crazies Continue. Blog that shit, motherfucker.
How's everyone doing tonight? Good? Good. Excellent.
Great.
Welcome to the live show.
Fucking great. Great. Thank you for asking for me. Thank you asking me, Carney. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. And goddamn COVID-19.
No.
I met PayPal. When you get banned from PayPal, you're also banned from Venmo, because when they saw the filing from David Yannetti, Norfolk DA making up excuses, they don't want the public to know what the truth is.
Wow. I did not know that he was just ripping these freestyles. You know, like, whoa. The Canton Crazies. Let me get my, there we go. This was The Canton Crazies. Was April 28th, 2023 at the 1 minute and 45 second mark. Okay. Before he does his little fuck shit, whatever you want to call that freestyle. There you go.
Photos here real quick. That we got. A few of them. All right. Let me read these off. Mark sends $25 and says, sorry. I hope Karen Reed gives you an interview after all the time and hard work.
I just had to laugh about that. I hope Karen gives you an interview. It's 2026, my motherfucker. How's that working out for you? Just had to play that. That was kind of funny. That's just me being cheers.
I think media is picking up more because of you. I think that I like the second statement there a lot. I have seen more. Like I showed you a CBS article and an NBC article and a Boston 25 News article. And granted, they're not as thorough as I am about this, but it's good that we're getting the ball rolling here. And because they're obviously, it's very clear that Ted Daniels saw my reporting and was like, I need to get on this.
4/28/2023. Okay. Now, this is before this really, really important May 3rd, 2023 hearing. Okay. So there it is, right?
And whatever, they're going to take the credit. At this point, we all know who broke the story.
Karen Reed. You know, when a loophole lawyer says Brian Higgins, Karen Reed.
And I appreciate they're going to take the credit.
Karen Reed.
At this point, we all know who broke the story.
Karen Reed.
And I appreciate all the turtle emojis, and let's keep that going. But it is a good thing either way, because let's keep our eye on the prize here. The eye on the prize is that, and then this woman is facing life in prison for something she had nothing to do with, and the real murderers are walking the streets like nothing happened, and they run the whole freaking town.
Okay.
Yeah, can we get 1,000 thumbs up? I don't know if we've ever got 1,000 thumbs up on a live video before. How many thumbs up we got right now?
Okay, awesome. All right, Canton crazies, keep them coming. Now, again, this is the 28th where Karen Reed's texting and saying, "Why aren't you pushing? Like, you need to be talking about this federal investigation." Okay. Clearly, he's blogged about it. He talked about it on the 23rd, 24th. But hey, more. Now, we're going to switch gears here to play this May. Here you go. Now, 581 more. Well, here's one that, well, no, I want to play the other one. Sorry, I thought I had it queued up. Hold on one second. Okay, so Turtleboy Live on May 3rd, 2023. And the reason this is really important is because this is the day that he goes to his first ever hearing for the Karen Reed case. And he drives and he's like, "I'm going to be there." And, here we go. And this is the Rule 17 motion.
Motion to renew our motions to compel, which we'd like to be heard on.
Because the Commonwealth very particularly did not ever pose that question. Why would he sell his house? On further oral argument regarding the issues or the summonses surrounding the animal control and Canton Town Clerk. If the court has any further questions about those, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I can certainly give the court a federal grand jury report that evidence is literally being destroyed right under our nose.
Here we go.
It's been reported that
It's been reported. Alan scratches his a little head there as a little giveaway, a little telltale, if you would, because this is going to be a lie right here. It's been reported. He doesn't say there's multiple media reports. It's been reported. It's been reported. Okay. It's been reported. And the one report, and the only person that's talking about it is Aiden Carney. Okay.
federal authorities have now gotten involved in the circumstances surrounding this case and have impaneled a federal grand jury to investigate some of these circumstances. But Karen Reed should not have to wait for the feds to figure out which heads should roll.
Okay, now, as an investigative journalist, Turtleboy was sitting right behind there watching the entire time. Right there. Turtleboy would have known and realized, wait a second. It's like, let's say that he didn't know what was happening here and what the plan was. And that, hey, I'm going to feed you this. And then I'm going to go as a lawyer out here and oral argue and say, I found out from you, Turtleboy. I found out from you about the federal investigation. I'm glad that you're here. Why don't you sit down, sit tight? Okay. I'm here to prove things. I'm here with receipts. I'm not speculating on a goddamn thing. Okay. Going in chronological order. Right here. It's been reported. The only person reporting it, Turtleboy. Who's Turtleboy's source? Alan Jackson, David Inetti, Karen Reed. Okay. if you now, so this is in response to the person that wrote me. We are totally on the same page, Karen Reed being factually innocent. But I disagree about her team doing anything truly unethical. Here's proof. I think I do believe, though, that Karen Reed was railroaded. Okay. But this is what starts happening when you have corrupt people, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to try to fight it with corruption. And we're supposed to all be able to tell what's real, what's fake, what's going on. No. So
I would implore the court, now is the time for the court to take some action and give us the tools, the defense, the tools that we need to fully investigate this case. We need these records to track down this German Shepherd, if it's still alive, which clearly is an open question.
this was an argument to get this material. The material that Turtleboy says in his cases is a fishing expedition. Okay. Now let's go back over here to the timeline. After this hearing, Turtleboy would get into his vehicle. Okay. Turtleboy would get into his vehicle and literally go and meet up with Alan Jackson, David Unetti, Karen Reed at the Omni Seaport after that hearing. That was Turtleboy's first court appearance ever in the Karen Reed case. So prior to May 3rd, 2023 hearing, he's live in his minivan saying how he is basically doing a documentary. Then he goes, after he meets up with them, he plays it off to Natalie. Like he doesn't know where he's going. He's so scared and all this crazy bullshit. He's already Googled. He already knows where the hell he's going. And so that's all a bunch of lies because they got to keep Natalie thinking that like they don't talk. Turtleboy then does a live broadcast on May 3rd, 2023 and goes over, the hearing. Okay. And he's just like then showing himself at the courthouse stairs and like looking at himself. I mean, he's just bizarre, just really weird. Then now this is really important for those of you guys that just want to maybe take off the blinders just for a second. Okay. On 5/7/2023, this is when Turtleboy and Karen Reed begin to start talking without Natalie, even though they kind of were, but now we're just going to kind of have to let her know. But Turtleboy's questioning something so much so that, this doesn't make any sense. This is basically saying that somebody framed Jennifer. It was wild shit. Okay. He's questioning it. Now, very important is this next section is for everyone who doesn't understand chronological order of events. Please listen. The infamous letters by the DA Meatball. This is when it starts. On 5/9/2023, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office writes its first letter to an Attorney General office inquiring about the federal investigation. They also make a phone call, and then the letter is a follow-up to the phone call. And this is only after Alan Jackson's statements in court on 5/3/2023 about the federal investigation. Okay. Now, this is exactly what Alan Jackson knew that Michael would have to go and do as the DA, right? Who isn't going to go write letters and send out emails? Okay. Alan Jackson knows the rules. He was a prosecutor and he ran for DA. He did lose though, but he did run for DA, right? If you don't know that now, you know that. Now, again, important to understand the timeline here, because what is about to happen should blow all of your fucking minds. Okay. Now, Turtleboy on 5/10, he is discussing Brady violations and that Meatball is the target of the investigation. Okay. And the TV source obviously is Alan Jackson, David Unetti, Karen Reed. But everybody should start wondering, how is Turtleboy getting all of this correct? Who's their source? Because this person is not just leaking that there's a federal investigation, but leaking who's getting subpoenas, who and when they're testifying. Okay. And guess what Turtleboy is doing with the information? He's using, this was the ammunition. This is what the bullets were. The bullets were in this. I am going to go attack these witnesses about the federal investigation. I'm going to use that to harass, influence, and intimidate. This is why Turtleboy is going to prison. Okay. Oh, I want Monkey. Monkey, stick around. Stick around. Stick around. The big deal comes into nobody on either side can ever say that they're this or they're that and try to claim this and that with what's going on when you're doing the same fucking thing. Okay. Stick around for a timeline. Have your emotions all. I don't give a fuck. We're all entitled to our opinions. You can't change a timeline. And if you want to justify it in your own brain, because trust me, you think this is easy for me to come out here and fucking show this? No, it's because I actually have integrity, though, that I am showing it. Now, exactly. And it's not. And in this day and age, the internet is the biggest weapon in the world. Now, as I was saying, here you go. Oh, we're not even to the good stuff, guys. Turtleboy, again, discussing, he doesn't even know what Brady violations are, okay? But he brings up somebody that's really, really important in all of this. He wants to start talking about Rachel Rollins. And the reason he sends a red herring in his live and starts talking about Rachel Rawlings, okay? I'm not going to go, that's just way too past your guys' abilities right now. But that is the Canton cover-up 581, okay? And the question should be is who is leaking the correct federal material to Reed's team and Reed to then aid and be able to get it right? Now, a second letter would then happen. And the reason that there was this letter ever sent about this, hey, maybe you guys shouldn't be doing the investigating of this because again, going off of what Turtleboy is saying and the whole Rachel, if this is going to be led by somebody who has animosity towards me, okay. Think about this machine that was just orchestrated to get everybody panicking and going wild and crazy and what the hell? Okay. And then we're going to blame other people. Now, what would happen here is that there's lives on May 23rd, May 24th, and then May 30th, we get to the Jennifer McCabe goes to court for a protective order. And it's denied, but guess what? David Yannetti is tipped off by someone in the courthouse. David Yannetti then informs Turtleboy about it. And what does Turtleboy do? Turtleboy goes live and attacks Jennifer McCabe with Yannetti's intel and says, you should have never done that. Now I know this bothers you, and now I'm coming harder for you. Okay. May 9, 2023, Tully emails Jessica Hyde. Yeah, why do you think that they would need to email Jessica Hyde? That goes in line with everything in the timeline, because we need to hire somebody that this is what y'all are saying, and there has to either tell us that this happened or it didn't happen, right? And people are out there saying, no, look, he went and did this. Well, I would think that anybody in that position would go and get an expert. That's what you do. That's what Sutton did. That's what happened in the Idaho 4 case. They had to go, the state had to go hire somebody like a Sutton. Okay. Because Matthew Nodal just totally tore that shit up about the crime scene. And then after the state goes and gets Sutton, who fucked up some shit, right? Then Ann Taylor goes and gets Brent Turby to rebut her ass. Now, here we go. With lawyers, you have to understand that David Yannetti is not an idiot. David Yannetti didn't say, don't tell anybody about this, but I just want you to know this. Don't use this in your material. Okay. David Yannetti knew by giving that information that it would lead to the harassment, intimidation, all of the shit. What do you think he's going to do with it? Okay. Now, we're going to show you what I just was blown away. Turtleboy then attends Jennifer McCabe's kids lacrosse game. Well, Microdots makes fake emails and fake names for them to attend and get tickets to the lacrosse game. But I thought there was nothing wrong with what they're doing, right? How do you think this is going to look to a jury that actually doesn't have these whack emotions that y'all have? Okay. This is not how you do things. And wait, it gets better. Now, Lally files on, actually it was the 6th of June. Okay. And he puts in he's going to go and try to get a gag order. I could fill you in a little bit more about what happened over here is Aiden Carney started the defense fund, and the 24th or the 28th was the first time that Aiden Carney had an episode where he was advertising for the criminal defense fund to do the crowdsourcing, right? And he said, hey, on this night, I'm going to donate half of my, whatever you guys send me, I'm going to give half to Karen. Okay. I don't think that ever happened again, but now this is where we get into the, let's see. Let me see here. Hold on. Okay. We're going to come on over here to Hector. Okay. All right. Again, Lally files a motion stating that he wants to have basically a gag order in place. Okay. So this would be the defendant, Karen Reed's opposition to the Commonwealth's motion to prohibit prejudicial extrajudicial statements of counsel in compliance with the Massachusetts Rules of Professional Conduct 3.6a. Here you guys go. This is why it matters. And this is why I implore you to take this to every lawyer you know. Okay. And you're going to go to page 99, or because there's a huge big filing, but here it says, again, this is the defense team. It says, the Commonwealth's characterization of statements made by defense counsel, specifically those attributed to Alan Jackson, is misleading, lacks context, and is outright deceptive. For example, on page 7 of its memorandum, the Commonwealth states, furthermore, during the May 3rd, 2023 hearing, defense counsel first reported in open court during a live television broadcast that, quote unquote, federal authorities have now gotten involved in the circumstances surrounding this case and have impaneled a federal grand jury to investigate some of these circumstances, end quote. Okay. Critically, the Commonwealth, in effort to cast attorney Alan Jackson's statements in the most nefarious light possible, omitted the prefatory clause preceding this statement. What Alan Jackson said prior to this statement was, it's been reported that, and I'm about to say, oh my God, to you guys. Oh my God. Ready? Yeah. It's been reported. It's been reported that ... At the time the statement was made, it had indeed been publicly reported that a federal grand jury had been impaneled There is a marked difference between stating that something has been reported and revealing something that was previously unknown to anyone. This statement was not the defense revealing publicly that a federal grand jury had been impaneled, something about which the defense team would have no knowledge. This, monkey, is why I'm covering this. This is a big deal. This is a fucking lie. This is the blackmail that Turtleboy has on these motherfuckers. Something about which the defense team would have no knowledge. Instead, as Attorney Jackson stated, this was Miss Reed's counsel reiterating what had already been publicly reported. Most importantly, that was not an extrajudicial statement, nor did Attorney Jackson, this is what Yannetti wrote, or nor did Attorney Jackson or anyone on the defense team make an extrajudicial statement about this issue. Now look see who they fucking cite here. See this little, this is for you, Andrea. Where's right here? It had been publicly reported that a federal grand jury had been impaneled. You see that footer right there? 37. 37. See Turtleboy Daily News. Multiple witnesses in home where John O'Keefe was killed, subpoenaed by federal grand jury. FBI visits home. Basement floor reportedly replaced. Date April 20th, 2023, motherfuckers. I love a challenge. It gets worse. Ready? It gets worse. When I thought that it couldn't get any fucking worse, wait till you see what happens here. Hey, Joelle. How's daddy? Now, it had been reported. Alan Jackson, Karen Reed, and David Yannetti are the source for Turtleboy's fucking reporting. They circumvented and lied to Bev. This is why they didn't get another fucking call the entire rest of this proceeding. It gets worse. It gets worse. Ready? Then David Yannetti getting on a high horse here. Ready for this shit? People are getting awards for this type of representation. Your hate is showing. What hate? The hate I have for fucking corruption? Absolutely. Your name says don't be hating. That's all you do every day is hate. Don't be hating. It's right there in your name. You're smarter than this, in my opinion. You know what? You're dumb. I just fucking said it. You're dumb. How can you seriously see and watch me explain something step by step like you're a fucking kindergartner and have the balls to say this shit? That's what lawyers and journalists do all the time. No, it's not. They're going to try to get sanctions on the fucking Commonwealth. Meanwhile, it was them who did it, if you stay around and pay attention. But I'm just so sick of the fucking hypocrisy. You guys love to hate on the government. You guys don't think hey, I'm always out here looking for corruption. This shit is no fucking different. And the truth, yep, it often does hurt. Right here, I was every fucking day covering this case. It wasn't until Turtleboy opened his big fucking fat mouth in 2026 to admit to it all like an idiot. Boop, 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 boop. Get so mad, guys. I love it. Y'all are the fucking ones. If y'all are not even seeing what's happening here, Yeah. There is no fucking place for criminality. Okay? Nobody gets a pass, right? Because it gets worse. Wait for it. So here's Yannetti. Attorney Jackson stated that in open court as part of a legal argument, like I said, is part of a legal argument exactly to bolster your claim to get fucking material. To get material. To get material. It is disingenuous for the Commonwealth to muddy the waters. Look at this shit. To muddy the waters when seeking to gag the defense by citing an appropriate argument made in a courtroom. An appropriate argument. They're doubling and tripling down on this. We didn't know about this federal investigation. We heard about it from it was reported. It's a lie. Why do you have to lie? Your client is so innocent, right? Look at the fucking evidence you have. They got nothing. They didn't even fucking package the goddamn close up until March, you people. Like, you got to do all this? Come on, man. Maybe Alan Jackson wants to be known for being the lawyer of an innocent woman versus representing scumbags in Hollywood. You ever think of that? Again, I'm a fan. I was a fan of Alan Jackson's. I still think I am because this is what happens. Corruption breeds corruption. And so David Yannetti, Alan Jackson rolled up their sleeves and said, let's get fucking dirty too. And this is what happens. This is the byproduct of it all. Like, this is it right here. Don't be hating. You've come into my chat now how many times trying to tell me all this stuff. I'm smart in this and I'm this and that. What, you can't handle it if I say it back? You're being dumb? You can't fucking handle it? Go back to Turtleboy's chat where he can fucking lie to you and keep spinning shit to you. I'm not spinning anything here. If you fucking think that this was easy for me to come out and lay it out in black and white, you're crazy. But you know what? I wouldn't do it. I would have to stop talking about the case because I would be lying every fucking day that I talked about it. So this is the truth and it's in front of your face. Does this mean that Karen Reed didn't kill or that killed John O'Keefe? No, is that what I'm saying? I'm saying that this type of shit can't go on. And corruption breeds corruption. And you should ask yourself a really important question here, which is the word integrity. Why would Alan Jackson and David Yannetti ever risk their fucking careers for this shit? Or is it, hey, I've always been doing this for my whole entire career, so I'm not risking anything? I would never lie like this for somebody. Ever. Now, as I will continue, because we're not even to the good part. God, we're just we're not even to the climax, you guys. Now, it is disingenuous for the Commonwealth to muddy the waters here when seeking to gag the defense by citing an appropriate argument. By citing an appropriate argument made in a courtroom in compliance with the defendant's Sixth Amendment rights. Awesome. Additionally, the Commonwealth suggests that the defense counsel directly encouraged media outlets to continue to contact witnesses and ask them inflammatory questions in step with the defendant's theory of the case. This is an absurd characterization of what Attorney Jackson actually said during the press conference. The Commonwealth references. What Attorney Jackson said was, upon the defense team being encircled by members of the press. Wait, do you guys now understand why Turtleboy has to say that they never talked? I don't fuck with the defense team. I don't fuck with Karen Reed's lawyers. I have other sources because of this. You want to know why Daddy Alan Jackson? He's a really good fucking attorney. Do you want to know why he went on Turtleboy's show? Because of this blackmail that Turtleboy possessed. This right here. Hating teammate? No. Pointing out how he was part and he was used and allowed to be used because he knew what he was going to get on the back end. Huh. Yeah. How is this blackmail? Are you retarded? Are you? How is this blackmail? Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, and Turtleboy all know what they did. And he's a loose cannon. He fucking records Karen Reed, sends it to them anonymously, reminding them that there's a lot more where that came from. Most specifically, the federal investigation, where that fucking information came from. Turtleboy, trust. Trust. I love it. Look at all these. Listen and you'll get your answers. Exactly. I love it. I'm hyping up all the turtles. I let you all in here to say what you want. Yeah. Omni, the cult is calling. Everyone's calling. Everyone's here for it, though. Imagine that. What I started to realize is that that's why I need to talk to Jennifer Altman. Maybe I can get something out from her. Now, take a look here. And he goes through citing like, here's another question. Why did Brian Albert get rid of his dog? Far from being a call to action to harass witnesses, these suggestions of possible investigation to the press by Attorney Jackson are reminiscent of Mr. Gentile's suggestion to members of the press that they could find relevant information by doing just a little bit of investigative work. Guess what? Then they go as far as to cite a case, okay, off of this bullshit when they knew that the whole time that they are Turtleboy's. This is how Alan Jackson was able to say it in the courtroom. I just need Turtleboy to talk about it, right about why do you think Karen Reed was saying, why aren't you talking about the federal investigation? We need you to talk about that more, okay? Now, nobody was reporting on it, only Turtleboy. They cite Turtleboy, okay? So really, they're their own source, okay? Now, Attorney Jackson merely reiterated what had been publicly reported. Lord. Damn. Now, again, the date of that filing, pay attention. July 14th, 2023. What then has to happen? Get that rally going, and it will happen within a week because our fun train's ending. Okay. The fun train's ending, but the fun will just be beginning. Now, not only did David Yannetti file this, but he also filled out an affidavit in support, which is under the pains and penalty of perjury to that shit. Okay. And you can go find all that shit out, which is, I went ahead and pulled something for you guys, which is, take a look here. Okay. David Yannetti in his affidavit doesn't mention shit about any of that, but does cite a 420 dealing. And look at this. He cites this CantonPoliceTwitter.com on April 20th, 2023. Why? Because what he doesn't put before it, why there was ever a mention from the Canton Police Department on that day, April 20th, is because of what Turtleboy did on April 20th. Then that led to go bombard the Canton Police Department with a bunch of questions. And then they took to Twitter to say that on May 3rd, y'all can go and hear what they all have to say on May 3rd. Wild shit. But left all that out. Now, again, when I thought that it couldn't get any more fucked up, right? Again, May 3rd, I'm going to show you guys a May 10th or a June 10th clip. I'm going to show you guys a May 13th clip. I'm going to show you guys a May 10th clip. all these things, okay, that happen. I just showed you guys stuff before May 3rd ever happened. But now it comes to, you have the rolling rally. Then about a month after that, you have Michael Morrissey making his hostage video. Okay. Now think about this. We were all outraged. Yeah, this live has nothing to do about Karen Reed's innocence or guilt. If you can't understand that, then I pity the fool. I've never once said that Karen Reed is guilty. So please listen up. Now, how about this? Why didn't Alan Jackson call Ted Daniels? Why didn't they go to Ted Daniels? Why didn't they go to Ted Daniels in April? Because Ted Daniels would have done some FOIAing in April, right? And there would have been nothing there. There would have been no letters between the district attorney's office and the attorney general's office. Nothing. Okay. Why didn't Alan Jackson and Karen Reed tell one of these amazing reporters? Because this was Turtleboy's purpose. This was Turtleboy's purpose. This is his MO. Now, what would happen then is that Turtleboy gets arrested. Okay. Turtleboy gets arrested in October, as we all know. Let me give you guys a couple of these clips.
The defense counsel first reported in open court during a live TV broadcast that federal authorities have now gotten involved in the circumstances surrounding this case and impaneled a grand jury, a federal grand jury, to investigate some of these circumstances. So what? So he can't mention the fact that this is literally being.
Wait. You guys have watched Turtleboy for how long? Doesn't he normally say, yeah, dude, that's us. We reported that shit. We reported that shit. We reported that shit. Okay. That's us. That's me. We reported that shit. That's us.
Being investigated by a federal grand jury? That seems a little bit relevant. I don't know. How dare they mention these facts? Oh.
So we took little snippets to talk about this. How dare them talk about these relevant facts? It's not what the argument is. This is on June 10th.
A federal grand jury to investigate some of these circumstances. So what? So he can't mention the fact that this is literally being investigated by a federal grand jury?
Why wouldn't he be saying, yeah, I'm the source? Yeah, I'm the source. I'm the source. I'm the source. He can mention whatever he wants. I'm the source. He's not talking about it. Why?
That seems a little bit relevant. I don't know. How dare they mention these facts? Oh.
Turtleboy, how do you know that it's facts? Anyways, now we'll get to the goods. Let's go to, once again, let's go over here to this timeline. Okay. August 10th, there was another letter, and then August. So here we're actually going to go over here then. I'm going to show you guys one more clip. Yeah, here we go. You want to go to, this is episode 581. I don't think I've showed you guys this one. Maybe I have. He just keeps talking about the federal investigation. We all understand that, so we're going to bypass that. And now go to Turtleboy gets arrested, okay? Now, August, I'm going to see how much time passes by. August, so Morrissey writes that letter. Not that letter, but he goes out and does that video, okay? That's in August. So you have September, okay? And now I'm going to bring us back to this September date here. September 17th. This is when Karen Reed and Turtleboy, he's like, hey, what the, like, they wouldn't hand it over to us, so we called the feds. I just don't want you posting today or tomorrow about the feds. Think we told them, and then them start sharing that we're sharing it with you. So don't post anything. Okay. But then because of all this crap, because Turtleboy's like, what the hell? What the hell's going on here? They have this 1 hour and 1 minute and 30-second video call on the same day, right after it. CSS 458. Okay. 455, 459. Then Turtleboy's like, we have to talk. We have to talk about something, because am I on the wrong side of this shit? Like, what the fuck is going on? Yanetti's telling him then, in case they arrest you for this shit, do you have a lawyer? I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm going to ask for a lawyer right away. Okay. Then he gets arrested. They take his devices. Okay. That's October. November. Now, November is when, this is how much time has to go by. November is when Ted Daniels decides that he's going to make a FOIA request. Doesn't do one, or if he did, there was just nothing there. But in November, I think it was like November 1st. It's in November. He does a FOIA request to the district attorney's office, and he is seeking emails. Okay. He is seeking emails that are between the district attorney's office and the AG's office about this federal investigation. Okay. His requests get denied except for one thing, and then they said it was a privacy thing. Ted Daniels then appeals it, and then something happens on December 4th where they're going to go ahead and give him a couple of these letters. Okay. And so Ted Daniels reports, okay, I want you to pay attention. Ted Daniels reports for the very first time about these letters. And so everybody out there has this preconceived, I don't even know where they get this from, but that, well, mind you this, Ted Daniels reports this in December. And guess what? Turtleboy is so disappointed. In fact, what Turtleboy does is he does a video from, I don't know if it's like his lawyer's office or wherever the hell he was. He's like, Ted Daniels is going to have a special report. He thinks that he's about to get all this street cred. He gets nothing. He's like, it's the worst reporting I've ever seen. He fucking goes off. They play this little snippet, and it's just like, it was so blah. Okay. Then they indict Aiden Carney on December 20th. Then after they indict him, they then serve a subpoena. After they've already indicted him, they serve a subpoena to his ex-girlfriend, Lindsay Gaetani, a couple days after for a different separate grand jury. Because now they're going after Reed and Aiden Carney together for conspiracy to commit witness intimidation. Okay. And Lindsay Gaetani tells Turtleboy about that. Okay. So that's where you guys are getting your stuff mixed up with what Melanie wants to be putting out there. And he goes over there against his lawyer's wishes, against everybody's wishes, even, Karen. Okay. And lo and behold, he ends up getting arrested. He's put back into, the slammer. And they are like, we're going to, this is bail revocation hearing. And you're in there because Lindsay Gaetani and these new charges and all this crap, right? Okay. That's why he went to jail, because of what he did with Lindsay Gaetani. Okay. Now, ask yourself this question. Why in the world would Karen Reed's team, I mean, I know the answer, but you guys can ask yourselves. January 4th, David Yannetti signs an affidavit. Okay. January 4th, David Yannetti files, and so does Alan Jackson, and they file defendant's motion for sanctions and for the disqualification of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. Okay. And there's a memorandum in support. And now this is like your big climax here. Okay. Turtleboy is in jail. Turtleboy is not, they know that Turtleboy is going to be in jail for 60 days at least. That means they have peace and quiet. We're going to file this. But Lana, why do they need peace and quiet? Okay. We'll show you now. Against what Turtleboy said, right? But hold on. Let me show you. When I was emailed the reference points that she gave me, she was like, you need to look at this article. And because, yes, he did mention Brian Tully once before, and it was on 4/24/2023. Because I said Aiden didn't even know who Tully was. Okay, until after his arrest did he really know, because he wasn't getting it. When Karen Reed's just giving him all the art, like, here, write this and this and this and explaining all this fucking shit, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just writing it. Okay. And so I stand by what I said, but that he's not talking. Yeah, this one thing that he mentions, that Brian Tully was the supervisor. Okay. Supposed to look at the reports. Okay. All right. That's all. He doesn't understand when he's trying to claim where Tully's role is. That doesn't come until afterwards when he wants to say X, Y, and Z. Now, look at this. Cell phone records indicate John O'Keefe died from being thrown down the stairs at 12:25 a.m. This was Turtleboy's article. This is what he was putting out there. And when I say he, on 4/19, this isn't his narrative. This is Karen Reed's narrative. Karen Reed okayed this title. Okay. Cell phone records indicate that John O'Keefe died from being thrown downstairs at 12:25 a.m. Wow. Okay. Now, Then she shared this part 94. And I'm like seeing all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, but the one that she needed to highlight was part 4. Part 4 on 420. That's the big kit and caboodle. 420 is the big article. That's the Fed shit. But this shit is wild. Anyways, no wonder nobody knows anything in this case because of what Turtleboy was originally putting out and continued to put out was absolutely fucking, it was wrong. Okay. But it's like a theory. Like this is the defense's theory. And so Turtleboy, like he says in his book, if you want to come to me, I will put out your story. I will tell your story. Not investigate, not do independent research, nothing like that. I will do your shit. Okay. Now, remember, nobody gets gagged. Okay. So they're asking for sanctions. On June 9th, the Commonwealth filed its motion to prohibit prejudicial extrajudicial statements of counsel. In this, it was like, we're talking, God, how many pages was it? It was like almost 200 pages because they used everything that they were filing and all this stuff. And they included Aiden Carney's, how they arrested him. That was an exhibit. Okay. Because they were showing that Aiden Carney is tied to the defense. And Bev did not gag anybody because of the arguments that the defense made. Okay. And that, wait a second, we didn't fucking come up with this Fed shit. We didn't know anything about this Fed shit. It was reported by Aiden Carney, that's who we used. Well, you're Aiden Carney's source, which is 3.6. It's violating rules 3.6, candor to the tribunal, which this is the gall. I cannot even believe this. That the defense knows what they did. And then in January, while Turtleboy is silent, and they know that they have him silent, they say that the Commonwealth, now watch this, the Commonwealth's motion here, they're like, while simultaneously stating, they say that we don't want anybody saying anything, while simultaneously stating that the Commonwealth and its law enforcement witnesses agree to bound by the same order, as well as Massachusetts rules of professional conduct. Yep, the Commonwealth's motion contended that statements it attributed to defense counsel about the defense theory about the cover-up by both civilian and law enforcement go further than zealous representation. They are unsubstantiated proclamations supported only by self-serving speculation and conjecture, likely not to be admissible at trial, and done with the intent of materially prejudicing the criminal proceedings by risking the impartiality of potential jurors. Okay. That's at Commonwealth's motion at 6. Now, accordingly, the court denied the Commonwealth's motion for a gag order on July 31st, 2023. They thought they were getting gagged. The district attorney creates a video, disseminated it widely to the media 25 days after this court's order denying a gag order. Well, why the hell did y'all wait till until January 4th to file this? Now, I'm going to tell you why. Because we need people to forget about what happened in May and who our source was in May. We can't file this. You should have been filing this in September. For what Meatball did. Right? The district attorney, Norfolk, goes on a 5 minutes and 45-second video. Okay. And so what they do in this motion, this will be the first statement of its kind, and they put in here, this is his release. Okay. In August 2023. It wasn't until January 2024 when they want to file this big thing. Now, we have to remember everything that had occurred from, May until August. That's pretty wild shit, right? We got rolling rallies going on. We got supposedly a federal investigation that's being outed by some blogger. This blogger looks like his only source is the fucking Karen Reed people, right? And now he's calling up and using the public docket to call up these witnesses. I mean, have you ever seen anything like this in any of your cases that you've ever watched? And the answer is no. And you guys, freedom of speech is amazing, but they have rules for when there's a criminal case and there's witnesses that you can't do certain things. Like, what don't you understand? Now, so what the defense does here is extraordinary, in my opinion. Give them credit. Boston 25 News reports on federal investigation of Karen Reed investigation. This is why this is amazing. They have Turtleboy shut the fuck up because he's in the slammer. And we're going to go ahead and write this. Turtleboy's name is not used one time in here. Okay. Boston 25 News reports on federal investigation of Karen Reed investigation. Well, but that is until like way later. On November 29th. Why are you mentioning it here? Like, why aren't we talking about how this federal investigation was talked about in April? Well, on November 29, 2023, the supervisor of records of the Public Records Division of the Office of the Secretary of the Commonwealth sent a letter to the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office regarding the petition of Ted Daniels. So he basically put a FOIA in to request for public records made on November 1st, like I told you guys. And he was seeking, look at this, any letters. Why would Ted Daniels think that there were letters to be found? This is what goes with my statement earlier. I said, Turtleboy, do you ever wonder why Ted Daniels was tipped off to go get letters and you were all brought in to come and commit crimes? Dude, fucking give it up for Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, and Karen Reed. They use the fuck out of you, Turtleboy, and I absolutely love it. I fucking love it. I cannot love it enough. Okay. It's amazing. Okay. And so seeking any letters. Okay. Now looking for the letters are, so seeking any letters, emails, or other correspondence Norfolk DA Morrissey or any members of his staff has sent to any DOJ entity that mentioned, the identified individuals. The supervisor of public records letter indicates the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office responded on November 14th to the public records request by identifying a single responsive record and withholding that record pursuant to identified exemptions of the public records laws, precipitating the petition appeal. So he appealed it. Okay. Now, so Ted Daniels, it says that you have to appeal within 10 days. Okay. 3 days later, on Saturday, December 2nd, oopsies, a Boston 25 News teaser. This is what Aiden Carney was losing his dick about. This is what he's like, yeah, it's going to be great. There's supposed to be a teaser and there's a report later and it all sucked. According to him. According to him, it was shit. Okay. At 10:15 about what 25 Investigates has learned about why are federal authorities looking into the case of Karen Reed. And I'm like, why are they writing this and starting here when you normally would start, like, this has been going on since May or April rather. right? April, like 420. Well, let me tell you what, you're going to go ahead and source the guy that is in jail right now. And literally, you guys just filed this after finding out that your client is being investigated for conspiring to commit witness intimidation. That's what they found out at the end of December, and then boom, filed this January 4th. Talk about some fucking smart, sick shit, right? So the teaser video includes a video audio snippet of a man identified as a former federal prosecutor stating that they are not investigating the murder. Well, no shit. They are investigating the investigation of the murder. Who's this former federal prosecutor? Huh? What do we think? Who do you think that is? On the evening of December 4th, 2023, during its 6 p.m. newscast, Boston 25 News aired a preview report about its upcoming 1015 report, asserting that our sources tells us the U.S. Attorney's Office is investigating the investigators. The investigators. See what I've always said about this whole thing? Okay, ready? Listen up. I said the thing that Turtleboy needed to just focus on and focus on only was the investigation. The investigators, the government. The government, not witnesses, the government. The government is the ones who did what, didn't do what. All of it. The government didn't record interviews with witnesses. The government didn't separate people. The government, everything. That's why, when I cover cases, it's exactly what we attack. I'm not attacking witnesses. Now, here we go. The Norfolk County District Attorney was aware of being investigated. Now, instead of, I need you guys all to do your thinking for you. This is why this was not written in August. The Norfolk County District Attorney was aware of being investigated. That same day, December 4, 2023, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office provided the defendant with an additional notice of discovery, disclosing for the first time 6 letters between the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office and the United States Attorney's Office or the United States Department of Justice or the FBI sent between May 2023 and November of 2023. You guys, why did these letters ever start? It's been portrayed in at least the way that my brain has always interpreted all of this, right? Because of the way that things were written and the way that things got filed and when and all this stuff, right? And how it was pushed. There's these letters because the DA is doing his job when he's hearing that there's this federal investigation. Like, what are you people talking about? So I have to write a letter. I have to make a phone call first. Then I'm writing a letter, right? Okay. So all regarding the existence of a federal investigation of the Karen Reed investigation / prosecution. In that correspondence, it includes a June 12th, 2023 letter from the acting U.S. attorney, previously the first assistant U.S. attorney, informing the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office that we have no issue with you advising defense counsel about the contact we have had with your office and the information we have shared if you determine such disclosure is warranted under Mass Rule 14, because they asked about it. the state asked, the Commonwealth asked, hey, if there's exculpatory shit here, we have an obligation to supply that to the defense. They didn't get back to him right away. Okay. As you can see, June 12th from May 9th, like a month. Then it's like, so the December 4th notice of discovery additional discloses that as of December 4th, 2023, the Norfolk District Attorney's Office has received no discovery or information about the parameters of a federal activity, nor confirmation about whether any witnesses associated with Commonwealth versus Karen Reed have testified before a federal grand jury. Because go back and read those letters. And then to date, I went back and checked, and it was asked numerous times. And it's like, we don't have anything because they didn't provide us. There's no discovery here. There was nothing given at that time. What was given is, here are these letters, and where they got the information that people were being subpoenaed, okay, was not from the federal government, though. But this is what's nuts, okay? The disclosed letters are also included. There's a May 18th, 2023 4-page letter sent by District Attorney Michael Morrissey to the Office of Professional, like I already said, requesting that an ongoing investigation be conducted by the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts. What was Turtleboy doing on his live shows? Talking about Rachel Rollins from May 3rd, okay, May 10th, May 12th, May 13th. Turtleboy is over here fucking saying all of this crazy shit, reporting on all of this crazy shit. The defense team has already used Turtleboy May 3rd. That's their source. And then this letter is to say that, hey, maybe somebody else should be investigating this because of all of this animosity that's going on. Okay. And let me show you where this is coming from. I'm over here dying because I'm like, dude, talk about an amazing campaign that Alan Jackson put together. And Karen Reed and David Yannetti, like, dude, this is some slick ass shit. Okay. It ain't fucking, it's against the codes, but hey, you know what? Let's watch this. Watch how we get this motherfucker dismissed. District Attorney, May 18, 2023 letter specifically discloses District Attorney his knowledge he gained 3 weeks earlier. Yeah, do the math. 3 weeks earlier is May 3rd. This is trying to insinuate that his office knew prior to what? Alan Jackson, you and your team have known since at least April 20th. Because that's when Turtleboy fucking reported on it. And they're trying to act like we weren't Turtleboy's source. We didn't know shit. And we need this case dismissed because this is fucking egregious to the point that this is the type of sanctions, because this would be Brady material. Remember Turtleboy that time? He's talking about Brady, rating Brady. And I'm like, this motherfucker doesn't even know what he's talking about. That's why none of his, when I was watching those back when I was putting all my shit together, I'm like, he has no clue what he is talking about. But he's just, whoever wrote this for him and told him to talk about this shit is for a reason. Okay. And I'm just like, this is fucking, like, let's see where this takes us. Now, when we get to these arguments, I about fell out of my chair. The Norfolk District Attorney deliberately and egregiously violated ethical and constitutional due process requirements, warranting the sanction of dismissal. They did the same thing. The Norfolk District Attorney's video statement coming soon after this court denied the motion for a gag order, while specifically admonishing counsel not to engage in the exact kind of public statements comprised the video statement and the Commonwealth's delayed disclosure of its knowledge of the existence of a federal investigation of the Karen Reed prosecution and deliberate misrepresentation of its knowledge about that investigation, merit and required sanctions for violating ethical and constitutional due process requirements. Dismissal of the indictments, while a severe sanction, is the only sanction that can remedy the deliberate and egregious violations. And so remember, we're back in the day and we're just like, how can they get away with this shit? Hell yeah, Alan Jackson. Like, this is crazy. Everyone was just so outraged. That's because they're outraged from a wrong timeline. It is well understood that the duty of the district attorney, so blah, blah, right? Let me get to this argument here. This is crazy. District attorney, his video statement widely disseminated to the media clearly violated these requirements. Now remember, this statement comes after a rolling rally, after picketing witnesses, after, okay, this basically, like, there is no order in this court. Everybody is just doing whatever the fuck they want, okay? And you would think that right after that statement in August, you would do something. You would write, I mean, why aren't you fucking doing something then? Because they need to let time play out. Because of how they're going to try to sell this. And we need Turtleboy the fuck quiet. This man cannot speak because he will blow it. He'll come out here and say, what the hell? Why aren't I being, I'm the one that broke that. I'm the one that did this. And blah, like, no, dude, shut up. This is how we have to do this. This is the blackmail, man. All right. So they're basically saying that the district attorney, he personally vouched, okay, for numerous named Commonwealth witnesses, explicitly stating, in contradiction to the defense's theory, that Colin Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, Brian Albert, look at all the people right there. I guess he's not, but the only person we're missing is Higgins. But these people did not commit any crime that night. And we're all outraged, like, dude, how can he say this shit, right? Like, this is wild. That they have not engaged in any cover-up. That they are witnesses doing what our justice system asks of them. And calling the witnesses these innocent people. In addition to the civilian witnesses, the district attorney vouched for police witnesses, specifically saying that Trooper Proctor was not part of a conspiracy. Now, right here, part of a conspiracy or just a complete fucking piece of shit who did whatever the fuck he wanted, or just didn't investigate, didn't do his job. At the end of the day, they had no evidence, no admissible evidence. They could have had the entire case against Karen Reed thrown out if they went to a suppression hearing. Why wasn't there a single suppression hearing in the Karen Reed case? Why wasn't there a Franks hearing? I would have, like, if you just throw out all this shit, right? Because that's what, but it was like, no, if we throw out all the evidence and we can't show the jury how the fucking, it was all staged and all that shit. So that was a trial strategy, okay? And if you're going to go that route, then you're going to go ahead and try to discredit these witnesses against you, okay? But why wouldn't you just get all of this shit thrown out? John O'Keefe's clothes gone, okay? Out of there. Like, fuck I mean, all of this shit, just the Sallyport video gone. Well, you needed to use that though, even if it was inverted, right? to show if you're gonna go the route that you were framed and everything was planted, right? So it's like, why didn't you throw out the cups and all? Like, I mean, that's not sterile. But again, you have to show all of this to the jury so they can see, yeah, this is not how you do an investigation. Okay. Karen Reed, I mean, I'm telling you, those people didn't have to sit through, but what, probably like 4 days to see that this investigation is a joke. This investigation is an absolute joke. Okay. And that just wasn't enough. Well, I would tend to agree with you on that until it's just not the smartest thing to lie, though, either about a federal investigation and give it to a blogger and include him and doing things, I mean, with you. I mean, that's just mind blowing. But I don't think they realized that they couldn't control Aiden to the point of that he'll take himself down to take you down, if that makes sense. Aiden was literally just blowing up Karen Reed's spot everywhere. Where? Karen Reed deserves to live the rest of her days an absolutely free woman. And so do the witnesses. You know why, guys? Because the Massachusetts State Police suck, Canton sucks, and the goddamn district attorneys suck, okay? That's the boat everybody should be on here, because this investigation is unbelievable to the point that if these investigators would have recorded these witnesses, when these witnesses are saying, that's not what I told Proctor. Okay, was Proctor drunk? I mean, what the fuck? You know, think about it. You want to say that Proctor's a liar, right? But when Jennifer McCabe or Matt McCabe or any of these other people were to say, like, no, that's not what I said to him, they're lying now, but Proctor's not the liar? Like, come on, man. Call a spade a spade. Like, it's just... So... such vouching for a witness by a prosecutor. So all of this is going on, and I'm just like, wow, okay. Talking about these special responsibilities of a prosecutor with respect to extrajudicial statements, noting that adverse publicity from a law enforcement product. They're talking about all this shit. I'm just like, yep, yep. And then we get here. Repeatedly during the video statement, district attorney raised harassment and intimidation of witnesses as an issue. It is an issue. There was a guy arrested for it, or about to be arrested for it. He had already done the shit, okay? So by his statements in August, a month after everything that he was doing, this man is out of control, okay? So, I mean, what do you think is going on in this case? You literally put a madman. You put a madman on this case. Aiden Carney was Karen Reed's downfall, man. Damn. Okay. Fuck. The vouching for Commonwealth witnesses, bashing the defense team, bashing the theories. They were not narrowly tailored to curtail witness harassment and intimidation. And here, we have accepted the point only that a prosecutor may properly comment to correct an egregious impression created by the opposing counsel. And it's just interesting because you're citing all of these rules of professional conduct that were violated, okay? And they are the same rules. And when you guys are sitting here saying, what does this matter, Lana? It's not illegal. Who cares if Karen Reed's defense team did this with Aiden Carney? Who cares? Well, the defense team seems to care about the professional rules of conduct. They went and asked for a case to be thrown out because of prosecutorial misconduct / all the shit that they say in here, rule candor to the tribunal. So look at what they say here at the end. They say, listen here. The answer, so basically Aiden Carney, why you got arrested, even though this kind of came out later, but the vouching for the Commonwealth witnesses, like, don't do any of that. What you're supposed to do is the answer to any harassment and intimidation of witnesses is to investigate and prosecute the intimidators. Karen Reed, this is why you got put under investigation. Not to disseminate an unprecedented video statement vouching for Commonwealth witnesses. And then down here it says, there are no allegations at all that the defendant or the defendant's counsel engaged in any witness intimidation or harassment. You know what? That is absurd because there is allegations. There was a grand jury that was summoned in December of 2023, literally 14 days before this was filed, alleging that Aiden Carney and Karen Reed conspired to commit witness intimidation. So I just am laughing at that. Like, wow, that's just blatantly not true. But District Attorney, his video statement constituting a violation of Rule 3.6 and 3.8 and violates Rule 8.4, which is the misconduct. That's the same thing that these are all the same things that the defense did in May, on May 3rd. To engage in conduct that is prejudicial to the administration of justice. They were Aiden Carney's source for the federal investigation. Then they used Aiden Carney in an oral argument. Are you kidding me? That is the definition. I mean, come on. That is candor to the tribunal. That is a violation. And then they double down a bunch. But it's the same thing that they're alluding that see Commonwealth versus Aiden Timothy Carney docket. Indeed, that is exactly what the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office has done. It appointed a special prosecutor who has investigated and brought indictments in Norfolk Superior Court against Aiden Carney, an online blogger. Yo, Aiden, how does that feel? An online blogger. That's what Alan Jackson and David Yannetti wrote about your ass. An online blogger known as Turtleboy, who has covered this case extensively on his website, YouTube, and social media, charging him with 8 felony counts of witness intimidation, 3 felony counts of conspiring to intimidate a witness, and 5 other related misdemeanor counts. And guess who gave him all the material for everything? Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, and Karen fucking Reed. Without that information, and when I'm talking everything, Aiden Carney does not have any bullets in his gun. He sure as fuck can't use the federal investigation to go after these witnesses. And that was the ammunition. That was the bazooka. And if this is why I told you guys why Aiden Carney was going to go to prison, and the federal investigation is why. All of this is going to come out in his little fucking case, his trial. Aiden Carney was so dumb that in 2026, he thought it would be a phenomenal idea to announce it to the world that Alan Jackson is such a genius that he used me as his source for the federal investigation, but he was my source. Like, isn't that just genius? Like, that's not fucking sense. I'm like, oh my God. It was, oh my God, young man, old man. What did you just say? That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Literally, you just said that Alan Jackson is a genius for what could get him disbarred. You know why he said it? Because he was been always dangling. This is the blackmail episode. Aiden Carney knows, and so do those attorneys, that if Aiden Carney did record like he said these conversations, they are loaded with hella shit. It takes Aiden Carney. I mean, Aiden Carney would be going. He's like, remember I told you guys this? He's not going down alone. This motherfucker is not going to be the only one that goes. You know, I just have to laugh at this. The Commonwealth delayed disclosures of and misrepresentations about the federal investigation in the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. I cannot believe that you guys doubled down like this. The defense is who misrepresented the federal fucking investigation. They committed the misconduct about that. And the guy who was leaking all the material, well, would you think that it could potentially be Adam Deitch's wife? Who, I don't know. Why? Remember that phone call with Aiden Carney and Karen Reed that was partially recorded? Yeah, why don't you go back and listen to that shit? Hooey. Canton PD should go down. Massachusetts State Police should go down. The Norfolk County District Attorney's Office knew for over 6 months that the U.S. Attorney's Office was investigating it. And so did the defense. You guys are the ones that brought it to us. What are you talking about? Was investigating it, and the Commonwealth's investigators / prosecution. No, but guess what you guys told the world? Heal the world. You guys told everybody that the witnesses were being investigated. That these people are going to get arrested. That's what Aiden Carney's running around, okay? Fucking A, man. Aiden Carney's lying about it. Saying that these witnesses are being investigated. And then comes out and says, no, the biggest target is Meatball. You know why he said all that? Is to get Meatball to call and inquire. And so that there would be paper trail for what? Down the road. Why wasn't it Aiden Carney that did the FOIA request on November 1st? Oh, that's right. Because he was arrested October 12th. And then, hey, we're actually going to give it to a journalist here. Hey, Ted Daniels, come on over here. Aiden, you suck so much dick. I love on me. Crowded ass. I'm sorry, but this is fucking priceless for me. Dude. Fucking A. Have you gotten that interview yet with Karen? Earl refuses to speak with Lane. I have no idea who the fuck Earl is. Earl needs to die. What's that song? I have no idea who the fuck Earl is. Who the fuck is Earl? This is wild shit here, man. I always said, look at those Canton Police Department officers. You know, I don't know why you would ever go at fucking these witnesses. But think about it. Why wouldn't you? Here's Aiden. He's out of jail, right? Aiden, why didn't you do a FOIA request? You had all of May, all of June, all of July, all of August, all of September. Do you think Karen and her team were just like, God, this kid's a fucking retard? Like, what is he doing? I thought that he sucks. You act like you FOIA request it all the time and I do my own investigations. Motherfucker, you don't do shit. You let your little fucking baby case here, this is your bread and butter case, and you don't go and do a FOIA request for shit? God, what a moron. Ted Daniels over here jerking off to your fucking, like, God, this guy, you know, it just blows my mind. But it had even confirmed that witnesses testified before the federal grand jury, but did not disclose the extensive correspondence it had with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Again, guys, this is all smoke and mirrors. It's just ridiculous. We had no idea about this federal investigation. Look at them, like, acting like they didn't know about it. Dude, y'all fucking did it all. You're the reason that there was a federal investigation. I'm just have to call a spade, but no wonder why this was not granted. Because Bev saw through it all. Holy shit. And then she thought to herself, now y'all are just lying. Oh yeah, then this. Then here, hey, Turtleboy, while you were in prison, did you see this, or jail? Look at this. Compounding its failure to make timely disclosures to the defense of this information it knew about and that tended to negate the defendant's guilt. There is nothing in there that negated the defendant's guilt in that federal investigation. Where is it now? How about it during all of this time? Sandra Birchmore's case made some popping off shit, don't you think? Yes. That's why I say, were any of those witnesses in Sandra Birchmore's case? No, it was who? Oh, some Canton police officers, though, wasn't it? That looked at that scene and just thought, oh, it's just a suicide. You don't attack the witnesses. You attack the investigation. You go after the government. And when I say you go after them, you're holding them accountable. You ask questions to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. That is what the media is supposed to do. Okay, you just don't accept at face value or whatever that, hey, no, we keep the government in check. And then by going that route, if it falters into civilian land, okay, then you did it the right way, and that's where it's landing. But to use this federal investigation, to use this as ammunition to taunt, humiliate, scare, right? It's a scare tactic. Influence, intimidate, and harass. That was the intention with what the federal investigation gave you the ammo to do with those witnesses. And that's why you're going to be fucked. Like, so fucked. And you should be fucked because that's not what you're supposed to do. Okay. But right here it says the Commonwealth failed to make any disclosure at all until it was apparent that media outlets had gained the information and would be reporting it. And I'm over here just dying because I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Media's been reporting about a federal investigation since when? Since April 20th. That was Turtleboy. That was Turtleboy, right? And look at, they don't consider you media, Turtleboy. Or better yet, they have to what? Totally act like you and that never happened in April, right? I said Turtleboy got it all from Karen Reed. Turtleboy didn't FOIA. What a moron. Turtleboy went live with it in April and May. Why isn't that in here? Like, well, because we can't talk about that, guys, because Turtleboy's sources were Karen Reed, Alan Jackson, and David Yannetti. And so that, oh, wait, they circumvented and they lied to Bev. And that's all. Everything in here, you're running sanctions for violating these rules. The fuck rules did you violate? They violated the same thing. And there was no, oh God. This is why everybody was clutching their pearls. Like, how can this be? In addition to violating Rule 3.8D, the Commonwealth's misrepresentation contained in the Notice of Discovery also violated Rule 3.3, candor toward the tribunal. Alan Jackson, what did you guys do in open court on May 3rd? I lied to Bev. And I reported an investigation that I was the source of. So would that be candor towards the tribunal? And so this is Ha Bizarre. I love that song. Ha Bizarre. Oh, please. Your little TDSD titties boy, he gone priz. He gone priz. And so this was my response to, no, I have the timeline correct. And what we seem to have here is both of these sides, it was an absolute violation, fucking whore heaven. Okay. In the Karen Reed case, we should all be disgusted at the whore heaven that was displayed in open court with all these motherfuckers. But it started with the Commonwealth. Why? Because it started with the branches, the police department. That's where it should have stayed. That's where it should have been attacked the entire time. But you know what? Maybe David Yannetti was being too much of a puss platter. I got to bring in, like, what are you doing here? I'm not going to go at cops. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't in any of these rooms with them, but it was just a violation, whore heaven. And it's just call a spade a spade. Okay. So look at this. Dismissal of the indictment is the appropriate sanction. And we wonder why this didn't get tossed. The dismissal of a criminal case is a remedy of last resort. Nonetheless, an indictment is the appropriate remedy. They mean to toss it. They messed up with writing this. So it's saying that a remedy for prosecutorial misconduct. Alan Jackson saying this is prosecutorial misconduct in two different instances. First, an indictment must be dismissed for prosecutorial misconduct upon a showing of irreparable harm to the defendant's opportunity to obtain a fair trial. I think you guys are on your way to get a fair trial after everything Turtleboy just did. I am. I'm so, dude, you have no idea how hard this was for me. Okay. This sucked. But you know what? I can tell you this. I mean this. They believed that they had to do this, that they had to be corrupt just with the Commonwealth in order, and they had to go out there and seek out Turtleboy, which happened 2 months after getting the image of John O'Keefe's phone to see the Julie had talked to John and John had mentioned Turtleboy, and Julie was like, oh my God, that's Julie Albert, by the way, was like, oh my God, that's my fear, is to ever be blogged about by Turtle, like, Turtleboy do a blog about me. And then sure as shit, Julie and the rest of the gang, they're all being, blogged about. That's not a coincidence, guys. Sorry. It's just a timeline fact. So first, the defendant's opportunity to obtain a fair trial has been irreparably harmed by the district attorney. The extensive vouching for the Commonwealth witnesses. He only had to do that, you guys, after fucking you guys did all of this shit in May, June, July, and August. He's got his citizens going ham and writing in. He's got these town hall meetings. This town is a fucking wreck. And he's got to be like, hey, hey, stop. He's trying to stop this. This needs to stop. Now, him vouching for Proctor was awesome, right? Because that should just like group it in where it needs to be grouped, right? Proctor's lying. Proctor's a piece of shit. And why you want to vouch for someone like that? Well, who would ever do that, right? Well, two peas in a pod. Okay? Fuck him. Fuck Meatball Man. Okay? Fuck Proctor. But what did you want the guy to do, Alan? And there wasn't a gag order. Holy shit. Yannetti is being blackmailed. He cannot not show up. That's what I think. So you have to ask yourself, why in the world would Alan Jackson ever go on that man's show? This is why. This is why. And I showed you that clip. If Turtleboy had any integrity, he would have never reported on this case again. And he would have told Karen Reed and Alan Jackson and Yannetti to go fuck off. I saw this one that you guys just pulled. You guys used me as the source in the courtroom. That's unethical as fuck. And I will not. What do you think if Ted Daniels would say about that? If Ted Daniels would have been in Turtleboy's shoes, they would have never tried it with him. It's like when someone says, oh my God, I can't believe that you treat me like a whore. Well, you're acting like a whore. Of course I'm going to treat you like a slut. Turtleboy acts like a whore. He's going to get treated like a whore. And that's exactly how they treated him. Alan Jackson and Karen Reed and David Yannetti played the fuck out of that hoe. No wonder why he takes out on all these women. That's because he's the real bitch. Woo! Turtleboy, you fucking hoe! You blackmailing son of a bitch. Yep. He's extorting. Okay. And like I said, unbelievable. Oh, thank you. I love it. I like that name. Corruption brings out the worst in people. Oh, shit. So, look at this. Look at the irony of this. I'm sorry, but this case, in the words of this court, has generated significant media attention locally and nationally. But according to Turtleboy, nobody's fucking covering this case but him. District Attorney knew his video statement, which he himself characterized as unprecedented in his over dozen years as district attorney, would be disseminated throughout Norfolk County. Yet Turtleboy disseminated it. The Commonwealth and the nation which in fact it was. His deliberate fainting of the jury pool to such an extent that even change of venue cannot remedy the local prejudice to the defendant, the Constitution. You guys, but this is what happens. Think about it. Who put it all in motion? Alan Jackson, when you guys lied and got in bed with Turtleboy April, and then y'all did what you did in May, and y'all lied. It's just one big time, but then you're just trying to say, like, look over here, look over here. No, you guys are both doing it. Both of these two sides violated every fucking professional oath. And look at them. Nothing's happening to any of them. It's just fucking, and in fact, one of the fucking lawyers is your lawyer of the year. Woo! Fuck yeah. Yes. Lana is uniquely, this is just, it's just the facts. Why should Michael was right when he said, DA here, why are you running around calling the fucking witnesses murderers? Okay. Karen Reed is cloaked in innocence, right? But the witnesses aren't? Come on, motherfuckers. Of course they are. Okay. The only people that were out publicly saying anything, nobody even knew about this case, man. Okay. And so, yes, it should make people pause. It should make people wonder, why wasn't the evidence enough? When you look at this case, it is so ridiculous, right? Because the investigation is so bad. And it's so bad to the point that these witnesses should be pissed. Because of your guys' investigation, this shit has gone on. If you would have just recorded my statement, if you would have just done what you're supposed to do in an investigation, none of this would have happened. You know what? Maybe nobody gets arrested for his unattended death. Do your jobs, right? So both sides should be so pissed at the police, man. So pissed. Like, what the heck were you guys doing? And then this was an officer on the ground? Like, come on. You know what I mean? TB saw the money. Yes. That's why he let what happened to him on May 3rd when he sat in that courtroom and watched Alan Jackson take his dick and put it in his own ass. Alan Jackson just fucked you in live fucking open court, Turtleboy, and you took it like a man. Nobody does that unless you are a bitch with no integrity. And that's when Alan Jackson daddy, Turtleboy, you didn't disappoint. They knew what they were doing. They picked you to do what they needed, and you didn't disappoint because you took it. In fact, after May 3rd, what people like myself and others would have done is told him and Karen, hey, and this is how I think it went. So yeah, I saw what you pulled. This is what I think. I think Turtleboy told him. Turtleboy probably had to think, oh my God, how am I going to play this? Wait, did they just do what I think they did in there? Oh my God, they're just as corrupt as me. This is amazing. Oh, that, by the way, that's a Key West boomerang. When you take your own dick and it gets put in your ass, it's called the Key West boomerang. I used to live in Key West, so love my peeps in Key West. Ew, come on. You guys never been to Key West? Go there for Fantasy Fest. It's a great time. Turtleboy knew he was getting all of this shit on the back end or was supposed to. Okay. And then he didn't realize that, hey, you need to be more patient, right? But hey, he gets arrested. He gets fired from his job within 6 months. Name me somebody who gets arrested within 6 months, fired from their job, and catches how many felonies? All for a couple bucks. This is why Alan Jackson and David Yannetti are doing did his show. Alan Jackson did his show. Why they aren't pressing charges for wiretapping. Okay. And then David Yannetti, you're really gonna fucking do his May 17th, whatever the fuck it's called, a fundraiser. By the way, I did try to get in contact with Turtleboy and ask him, because I do believe in proper journalism where you're like, hey, I'm going to be doing a story, this one right here, to you guys today. Do you have a comment? And also, I want to know what time my slot was on May 17th, because I want to debate. I want to debate Turtleboy on his case and his actions, his lawless ass. I want to talk about your lawless ass. What job did he get fired from? From being Karen Reed's fucking fundraiser manager. He got arrested and fired all in the same day. And now Nick Rocco took over, and boy, does he have a fucking hard on for that man. Jesus Christ. He's so jealous of that fucking Italian man. I love it. Go get him, Rocco. You guys, anybody out there that's telling you that I'm out here saying that Karen Reed is fucking guilty, they're lying to you. I'm not saying that. And I've never said that. Okay. I'm saying that this is a shit show. But like, let's call all the shit shows out. Okay. And the biggest shit show is Aiden Carney. Aiden Carney has caused more harm to anyone in this case than anybody else has. Okay. Aiden Carney has made more victims in this case than anybody. Yeah. And he has the balls to literally say that who's gotten harmed in this? No one's gotten harmed in this. Dude, do you know how many people go to federal prison for white collar crimes, Aiden Carney? Like, he is such a fucking moron. I don't even know how people go on a date with the man that's this dumb. Okay. He is a pathetic excuse for a man. I'll tell you that. The motherfucker can't cut grass. He can't close any cabinets. I guarantee you he busts in 2 minutes. If you're lucky, ladies. And yeah, he can't put together a simple goddamn, I don't know, you name it. He needs to have somebody dress him, because fuck, the dude can't dress. He's like, I don't know what I'm wearing. I want to wear this turtle tie so everybody knows who I am. Doesn't that just scream like, I need all this attention? He just doesn't know. The word adulting, Jesus. He doesn't even know what that word fucking means. So I just have to laugh at this, but this prejudice to the defendant, this harm is compounded by the Commonwealth's deliberate withholding of exculpatory information known to and about a federal investigation. There is nothing exculpatory about the federal investigation. Nothing at that point in time. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was nothing exculpatory. There's nobody that's been arrested. Nothing has come from this shit. And almost it looks like it was like, I've put this out there before. It's almost like it's like a play out of the old playbook. Hey, if we can get the feds to do this. Yes, ARCA was. Baby Clay, do you know what the date is on this? Do you have any fucking clue? No. Nobody knew about ARCA. Neither side knew about ARCY. Listen, it's in black and white. How'd the feds get involved to begin with? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. Let's see. exculpatory information known to it about a federal investigation regarding its witnesses. You see that right there? That is not even what Ted Daniels reported. Turtleboy reported, which came from fucking Alan Jackson. I am dead. I am dead about this. This is wild. TB. Exploiting, self-snitching, and documented all the way. Yeah. Yeah. It's just bad. It's all lies. He was gonna make Karen Reed into a ratchet. Money, money, money. So, Karen Reed. Did you guys see what happened after the verdict of not guilty? The only person I don't think that was excited for it was Aiden Kearney. What the fuck am I gonna do now? Oh, we're gonna go do all this stuff. He knew that that wasn't happening because after he got arrested and then he got, the 60 days, him and Karen Reed, he lied the entire time, acting like they were like good, selling that off. And so everybody would keep watching his shit. Motherfucker doesn't have any sources. He hasn't had sources and sauces in fucking years. Karen Reed wrote every fucking article. Karen Reed's the MVP. Karen Reed, you always get that nod from me. I don't think that Karen Reed should be in prison. Karen Reed was fighting for her life. Okay, think about it. What would you do if you're fighting for your life? All right. Karen Reed doesn't have these professional rules of that she has to, like, those are what the lawyers have. But Karen Reed, you can fucking say whatever you want. Maybe that's why they switched up how they went about things for in between trial 1 and trial 2, and when Karen Reed just started doing all of her own interviews. I forgive you. Oh my God, are people saying sorry in chat? Everybody just say I love you. I said sorry. I forgive you. Everybody just love each other. Fighting for her life against pure corruption. Yeah. But guess what? Guess what? What's pure corruption? What's pure corruption? All I ever ask people to go back and check is if Karen Reed was that blasted, why do you think that she dropped him off at 34 Fairview? Why can't it be possible that Karen Reed didn't drop him off at 34 Fairview and that it was somewhere else? Her thinking that it's 34 Fairview because that's where they were supposed to go. Like, and she probably wasn't even using the words 34 Fairview. It was like going to Jen McCabe's fucking brother-in-law Brian's house. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, is there at all an opportunity or is there at all a chance that some way, somehow, not a single one of these people were actually involved in what happened to John O'Keefe? Meaning, because everybody always brought this up, why the fuck would they throw him on their own lawn? Think about that. Lana. Oh my God. Who's Casey? Who's Casey? Oh, Casey. Welcome, Casey. Welcome, everybody. Turtleboy wants to be Karen Reed. Yep. You guys like my thumbnail when I give him half the long hair? It's half his face, half Karen Reed's face. Karen, I'm sorry that I have to put that out there all the time, but he just wants to be you so bad. Like, it's no knock on you. It's fucking a compliment. That guy would give up half of his fucking dick and half of his balls to have a vag if it was Karen's half. But I can't take all that credit. Bella made that. We were dying one day. She did a phenomenal job making that. Jess, I really disagree with this. What are you disagreeing with? I just showed you a timeline. You can't possibly disagree with the actual timeline of events. Okay. Why would you want to get Karen and Turtleboy in trouble for this? They framed her for murder. She got her story out there. Who's they? Who's they framed her for murder? They weren't in the Sally Port. These witnesses, they weren't in the Sally Port. Who framed her for murder? Who's they? Let's let the civil case play out. It's not about that. You guys, if you're going to be about your constitutional rights, you have to be about other people's constitutional rights. Otherwise, you're a fucking idiot. Okay? Listen, all these cops need to go that were involved in this, period. And everybody is entitled to due process. And you don't get to make the motherfucking rules. If Karen Reed wants to get her story out there, nobody's stopping her. But you can't go and commit crimes to get your story out there. And Turtleboy committed crimes. God damn it. And while everybody's watching, he's video recording himself committing crimes. What an idiot. Why? Turtleboy did what he did for money, you guys. For motherfucking money. One day when Karen Reed can talk about it, I'm sure she will. I cannot see an upside of this for you. Honestly, I just stopped watching him. Huh? I cannot see an upside of this for you. For me? What is an upside for me telling the truth? Showing you a timeline? You guys, this is a timeline. She got her car back. Whose car? She sold her Lexus. All this is going to come out, and yeah, it is. And so my advice to Turtleboy was to take a plea deal. Take a plea deal. Take a deal that keeps you off the internet for 10 years. Vanna, a few months ago during one of your lives, it occurred to me that it was Brian Albert that was getting framed originally. Yeah, I actually put that out in 2023. All of this doesn't sit right. But, you know, Karen clearly didn't remember anything. Okay. Karen never even mentioned the ways until after trial 1. Karen never told Turtleboy about what Higgins, or if she did, then he kept it under wraps because that was part of the deal. I mean, normally how this would look is if an investigator found out that Higgins and Karen Reed were making out and having sexting time and all this stuff, what's the immediate reaction to that? Oh my God, they got rid of John. So they two could be together, right? That wasn't even on the radar. Whose fault would that be? Jen McCabe's? No. Wait, what? Sarah Livingston? Julie Nagel? I mean, come on. Listen, you need to give Karen Reed the grace that you're giving her, and you need to give the witnesses the same grace. Otherwise, that's being hypocritical. Nobody ever asked Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, the Alberts, like, they didn't do an investigation, and that hurt them just as much as it hurt Karen. It hurt the thing about this is John O'Keefe's murder investigation. This is his case. Okay. I want to know if he could have accidentally got out of that car. And if you ever go drive by there, that brim that's like the curb, okay, if he could have tripped from that slip, whatever. I don't know. Seems like a lot of panicking. But the investigation itself shows that, oh my God, like, what did y'all do? They did nothing. They didn't investigate this case. It was, and that just shows you the pattern of what they did with Sandra Birchmore case. But who are they covering for? A cop. Cops covering for cops, not cops covering for fucking civilians. Okay? You guys, think about the mob back in the day. The mob wasn't telling their wives and their children and their wives' friends and their kids' friends what the fuck they were up to. Okay? They weren't telling them about their whatever they're doing. And so for Turtleboy to come out and write these ridiculous stories about how Sarah Levinson was involved and knew about this shit, and then posted her nursing license, for what purpose? For people to go, because he knows what that's going to do. People are, so he can go create these fake accounts, then he'll just even do it. Karen Reed's team knew what they were getting involved in. They knew who Turtleboy was. I laid out this timeline. Okay. And why didn't Alan Jackson and David Yannetti go to Adam Lally and the DA and say, we got wind that there's a federal investigation going on. What the heck's going on around here? Have you guys heard anything about this? Instead, I want the date on when the federal investigation started. When did it start? Instead, let's go talk to this blogger who is in and out of the courtroom 24/7 on witness intimidation charges and wiretapping. And let's give him this federal information. What? Why? That's kind of ballsy, I think. Why are we doing that again? Well, because we're going to get him to report it. And then I'm going to fucking use it for our oral argument on May 3rd. So they dropped that new motion that was basically a repeat motion from what they did in 2022 on April 12th. So April 12th was when that motion came out. And then the next day, Natalie and what's her tits, Jen Altman, didn't mean like that. He is a full-time cop caller. He is. I'm willing to put, I'll give you 50 to 1 odds. Take the bet that he's sucked a cop's dick before. We'll ask him. I'll write him when he's in prison. So but the timeline doesn't lie. How do you know that you could trust somebody in a day? And then I'm going to give this information to. Come on, y'all. Think. Use your brain. I love your streams. Anyways, I've kept you guys here for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I only wanted this to be under an hour. So any last questions? Hey, Turtle Chats, come on. What do you guys have for me? Hey, Tim. Tim says hi from Albuquerque. Tim says go fuck yourself. Thanks, Tim. All right, next. Suzanne says, when are you and Karen Reed going to hook up? Turtleboy says, thank you for your $5. Oh, the dead turtle. Yeah, it was probably Turtleboy. He trolls himself. Oh, I had a rough day today. I honestly, oh, that's good. Hope it gives you some laughs. Yeah. Shot caller, 20-inch blade. He's a ridiculous person. I just think it's funny that he thinks he's not going to prison. Don't leave us, Lana. Well, I appreciate you guys. He gets 100% of his Turtle Chats, unlike YouTube gets 40%. I don't even know what the split is. I forget. It's either 70, 30, 60, 40, something like that. I noticed that he's taking thanks Lana, mods in chat. Funny you should propose that, bet. He has actually been on a call with an Arizona police officer and begged the guy to do such things to him. What? Whoa. I love your critical thinking and attention to detail. Thank you, Susie. You guys, it's just the truth. Aiden Carney is a piece of shit. Aiden Carney knew all along. Okay, he was literally feeding everybody a story that he never vetted. Not a single piece of it. In fact, 29 edits in red line. And yep, okay, I'll make all those changes, and fucking fired off his first story. Karen Reed and her team has wrote every single article that mattered, until he just went hog wild. Any new news in the Birchmore case? They both put in that motion because he was trying to get bail. I don't know if they rule on it. Oh yes, happy early Mother's Day to everybody. Thank you for mentioning that. Oh, I'm gonna be with Shimmy Speaks on Wednesday. So Turtleboy's in the courtroom on Thursday. I'm gonna be live streaming it. Come on over. We'll have a blast. For the pregame on the 13th, we're just gonna have some fun. It's her pregame party to her big old birthday the next day, I think. So I don't know if she's still listening. I think she was here. Thank you. Appreciate that. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And all the dads out there that are doing mom duty. To you guys too. All the aunts, uncles, everybody playing the mom role. It's awesome. This explains why AJ and DY are still 1 foot in with Turtleboy. Yeah, they had exactly. Then it sucks. And people can say like, Lana, I disagree with whatever I'm saying. I don't know how you can disagree with a timeline. This is just a timeline, and the defense team does not have clean hands. And the defense team is who gave Aiden Carney basically a loaded gun with this federal investigation and had him literally go ham with this federal investigation and used it as a weapon. And you guys, I don't know how you could possibly be behind that. Okay. You can't. He went after a fucking kid that had graduated high school, going to college, playing football. I mean, like, off of what? Off of what? I can't wait to hear this Steve Scanlon dude who supposedly came to them and was like, hey, you need to really look at the people that are inside the house, all this crap. I cannot wait. This civil case better not settle out. Okay. And if it does, we all should be pissed. All right. All this crap about all this stuff that was going to come out in the case and blah, blah, blah. Dude, it didn't. Okay. The investigation was shit. Nobody is going down unless there is new evidence that comes to light in this civil case that is just Wowsville. I think that Karen Reed was able to overcome John O'Keefe's digital evidence of his phone, which was I think that was a pretty big hurdle. She was able to overcome that with two things. Okay. The investigation and then ARCA. But do I think that the Commonwealth royally made some mistakes there with having like what Shannon Burgess found in Karen Reed's Lexus with because what's his name did such a great job, Paul. They weren't expecting to find that. And that was a big piece. And they were able, though, to discredit this Shannon Burgess guy over some wonky ass stupid shit with his, what do you call it? His CV. Fun stream, Lana. Keep being freaking hilarious. PBJ, love it, right? Hey, I can say this, guys. We can always disagree. But I have no idea why people would attack people. So if I highlighted you today and I said stuff to you, it's because I've literally sat back and watched you for fucking months show your ass in my chat. And I don't fucking appreciate it. I put a lot of time into my streams. I don't just come out live and just say, hey, what are you going to talk about? And fucking just play other people's shit. No, I prep a long time for my shit. I do a lot of research. And a girl who I value brought me and wrote me 2 very, very lengthy emails. And I said, she told me that I was wrong with my timeline. And I was like, no, actually, I'm not. And trust me, it pains me to talk about it. So, but this timeline starts in April. And this federal investigation was brought to you by the defense team to Turtleboy. And it's what weaponized him and gave him bullets to then use his platform and go after these witnesses and use the investigation or the federal investigation to literally influence, harass, and annoy, and to intimidate. Think about it. It's exactly what they use the federal investigation for. And then when you have people saying, why aren't you talking about the federal investigation more? Like, what are you doing? Do this, do this. I'm telling you, like, what are you doing? So, this is the first time I've been in your chat, Lana. I felt welcome. Oh, that's perfect. Awesome. That's how it's supposed to be. You juggle a shit ton of cases. It's truly mind-blowing. Thank you. Yeah, my mind's just always going. I'm glad you know what timeline because you have uncovered more than others would like being revealed. Yeah. I still disagree with your take on the witnesses being mere witnesses, but they are. Until they are labeled something else, you have to treat people as witnesses. And guess what? If the defense could have uncovered what they needed to, okay, you guys, that Google search didn't happen at 227. Sorry. Also, I proved to you guys that I don't believe that Jen McCabe was with her phone at 227. She wasn't upstairs then, and her watch went upstairs. The phone never did. I think Alessi did a great job. I think I just think this goes to show you that this is a case. Like there's other ones that are out there that are just like this. These cases, nobody should be found guilty because it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. Like the Richard Allen case, it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. That man was literally tortured and held before his trial, and that is not what we do in the United States of America. And those jurors really, really broke my heart because that in and of itself, there was nothing tying him to that scene. Nope, no DNA, no nothing. Sorry. Lana, thank you for all of your tedious reviews of these documents. It's much appreciated, and we need to hear it. Keep being you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Elle Woods, what's up, girl? What's up, girl? I think Turtleboy created one of the biggest distractions in, like, he's definitely going to go down in history And do I think that it's though for the right things? Absolutely not. Do I think that all cases need a Turtleboy? Absolutely not. No. There's ways to cover the Karen Reed case and not do what he did. Sorry, but there's ways to bring attention to the case and not do what he did. What he did was it's crimes. Like he was charged with crimes, felonies. And why he felt so, I mean, don't get me wrong, would he have done what he did? Yeah, because that's who he is. But why he was more brazen, I think, than ever, he thought that he had the backing of attorneys. He thought that he was untouchable. Just like the people on Twitter who live in different countries when they defame you. I agree, Susie. Is it Moni? Is that how you say it? Lana, thanks for your hard work. You don't give a fuck about sides, just the truth. Yeah, I don't. Absolutely. And I enjoy the law, like the trial strategy of it. I don't appreciate people treating us like idiots. And this isn't a game, right? There's people's lives on the line. Someone died in the Idaho 4 case. 4 people died. And I just think these lawyers, they're just, I have a really big problem with what I've been seeing go on. It's bad. Is Bradel still waiting on his license discipline for dirty prosecution with evidence? I have no idea what that is. Why was Jen pushing Karen to ride with her? Even testified to it. Maybe there is something more there. Yeah, I mean, could be, or maybe it was like, hey, we want you to come out and continue to hang out, you know, like, hey, you're coming with me. I mean, I don't know. I think that to sit here and say that a guy like Brian Higgins is telling another guy like Brian Albert about Karen Reed, right? And then Brian Albert saying, I'm going to fill in my wife and Jen McCabe in on that. Sorry, no. Like, if it was a Turtleboy, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, Turtleboy would have done that. You know, like, not these guys, not private dudes. Turtleboy is the opposite of private. Turtleboy is fucking. So Jen wanted to go to lengths. I think that I think that something was going on over there. You know, that 12:29 call that was answered for 7 seconds. I think it's really interesting. I think it's also interesting that there's no outgoing, like nothing is done on John's phone that's an outgoing command after talking at 12:18 on the phone. After that, the only thing that there's like an outgoing command with, as far as like I'm going to actually like text or do something, is to answer the 12:29 call. Everything else, like when you're opening or closing the phone, like there's nothing that's so 12:18, when he's done with that phone call with Jen, at the same time, basically 12:19, steps are beginning to be had, and he's able to punch in 34 Fairview within a 4-second or 5-second, like, you know, opening up the phone, hitting up the Waze, typing it in, and pressing enter. Look at how quickly that's able to be done. It's really interesting. Hog Heaven is Oakdale. That's what I call Oakdale. That's where all the steps are being taken. That's where the flights of stairs are being registered. And your car knows when you're, like, your phone knows if you're in a car. And in order for it to start taking steps is what could do the whole flights of stairs. You have to get out of that car and take some steps. And I just think it's really interesting when you sit back and you think, okay, well, Karen doesn't know where they're at. Karen's never been there before. So wherever Karen would have stopped and been told to stop at, she's thinking that that's 34, like where she's supposed to be at the house, right? Where they're meeting. Well, remember always Karen said that it was like dark as hell, looked like nobody was there. That's not how the Alberts house would have looked at all. So why aren't we really considering, hey, Karen, maybe you just, I don't know who you were talking to about your case, but maybe you weren't at 34 Fairview. And when he got out of the car and he's walking to go, that he had you actually drive somewhere else first because he wanted to, he just didn't tell you because he was getting somebody, because he was getting something. Okay. Or when he's on the phone with Jen, Jen's like, here, go over there. I mean, but then it was like, no, just come over here and we'll all ride together. And then he never came. But I just think there's something to be said about the fact of where the steps were taken, where the flights of stairs are happening, and that's then, well, did John, then also did Karen Reed leave right away? What's the story? Why, how can we possibly have heard so many different stories? And it's possible because Turtleboy, if you go back and listen to his first episodes, man, this dude is all over the place. If I was Karen, I've been like, stop talking about anything about me because you're getting shit wrong. I would have been fucking pissed. Okay. And then I asked myself, like, I've always wondered, like, why didn't Karen just like let everybody know that she was using Turtleboy? And then I did my research and I found all of this and I said, this is why. Because they had other plans for him. And this was the plan. Karen said she was there only afterwards. No way, too many people, including Karen, said she was there. Nobody said that Karen was there. Their testimony is that a SUV came there and that there was a woman. Well, guess what? Allie McCabe came there to pick up Colin. I don't believe for a second that all the names of people that would have went there are even mentioned because you're not gonna you leave people out of things. I'm just saying that a bunch of drunk people, those aren't the best of fucking witnesses. Okay. Karen Reed to be followed in by an SUV or a truck, rather. Think about this. If she would have actually been driving and went to that house, to sit there and say that there was nobody there and it looked like it was the lights are all that, how are you saying that? You have a guy that just pulls up behind you. Okay. A girl's running out of the house to come over that car, then having a 5-minute conversation at that car. The lights are all on. People keep coming over to the window and looking out the window. And Karen Reed's just like, there was nobody there. She never once said how she would have saw Matt McCabe or Jen McCabe coming over to the window. And I'm wondering what the fuck they're keep on looking at. Think about it. And you wouldn't know any of these details, right? When you're drunk. But she didn't want to be talking about that aspect of it. Right? I'm telling you, you're in a catch-20. You're in a very the data and the evidence, it can mean multiple things until you eliminate everything to leave one thing standalone. So look at this, right? My God, 40th, I got white girl wasted tonight. Were you doing some drugs? That's great. You're like, I was smoking some weed, man. Lana's report says Karen was saying she didn't drop him off there. Yeah, because she was talking about Karen has said before that they got lost. Okay. And I'm just like, exactly. And we didn't know if we were at the right place. So then John gets out to go. That's the story. And so it's like ding, 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 right? And then the only thing I can just keep thinking in my head is like, that's right after 12:20 or right before 12:20 when, why would Higgins be texting John like that if he would have been right next to Jennifer McCabe? And when she's just getting off the phone to say, oh, John's lost. And so I gave him the address. Then Higgins is just texting that. What it seems like is Higgins isn't where John is, which would make sense because nobody knew where the Jeep of Higgins's was. Okay. And so again, since the Alberts and Higgins got back first, he pulls out, maybe he's like, I'm going in to pick up the people from Hog Heaven over there, the other cops, to bring them over here. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's I just think if Karen Reed went to actually 34 Fairview Road, okay, that there's no way that she would have said that that house looked like there was nobody there when it was lights are all on. I've been at that house. You're so close to the fucking house from where you would have been on the street. Like, you could see if the people have nasty, crusty teeth like Aiden and Will, or if they have pearly whites. Like, you're super close. And so it's like, I'm just saying, why isn't the defense considerate? Because wouldn't that also explain that, Karen, you never were there. You couldn't have hit John because you weren't there. And the only person that actually put Karen Reed there is when she went into an interview after trial 1 to talk about the ways and to say, oh yeah, I remember John fired up the ways. What? Nobody's ever reported that ever. But that's what connected then. Once she said that, then here comes the prosecution like, oh my God, we can now actually use John's phone to pinpoint her because it wasn't her vehicle that ever was saying that vehicle went to 34 Fairview. It was only John's phone. But now Karen, because of her interview, that's how it was used in trial 2 to put the phone inside the car. And I don't know if people know that. That's not how it was. It couldn't be testified to that in trial 1. Go and ask Ian Whiffen. Changes it. Lana, do you think John O'Keefe was lured to 34 Fairview? I see Brian Albert leaving. We all see the same. We're all watching the same video. Brian Albert leaves. Nicole leaves. Okay. Higgins, who the evidence shows me that Higgins actually drove with Brian Albert. Okay. Because the evidence shows me based off Sarah Levinson's interview, and that was the most important thing that they never even took from her interview, was she said, when I was at the house, when I got over there to Brian Jr.'s, it was Nicole was there, Mr. Albert, Brian Albert was there, and his friend was there. And they left to go to the bars. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what you would have focused on if you were fucking like Turtleboy in the fucking team. Because when did Higgins ever say that he went to 34 Fairview to kick off the night? He didn't. In fact, he said that he drove separate to go to Hillside. Well, that's not what Sarah Levinson is saying. And so what would make it sense then is that if Higgins drives with Brian Albert and drives with, because they take Nicole to say, hey, well, we'll drop you off because we'll come back to the waterfall, but we're going to go to Hillside for a little bit. Okay. But at the end of the day, Sarah Levinson saw Brian Albert's friend, who then comes back to the house. Now, that would mean that his Jeep could have been potentially at 34 Fairview off to the upper right portion. And so that's why when they came back, he has to move his Jeep from the driveway Okay, otherwise he would get blocked in. You have to ask yourself, where is Nicole's SUV? It wasn't in the driveway. But these are all investigation mistakes that they didn't do. And nobody, the Hilly is so much fun, guys. I've been at the Hillside. I've been at the Waterfall Bar. I've been to McCarthy's. This case has created a monster. And it just shouldn't be this way. And Aiden Carney made it fucking like people that think that what he did and how they're supporting him and all of it, Turtleboy, every case should have a Turtleboy. Yeah. I'm good. You can like that's not how you treat people. This is definitely not how you expose corruption by being corrupt. But that's who he's been for 10 years. Since he started his platform, that's him. This is him. Hey, yep, you guys can use me. Go ahead. I'll be corrupt for you. And when a jury finds out that he did this in a Boston cop's case, and then when the judge has to sentence him, you think the judge is just going to give him a slap on the wrist for potentially the way that people see this as if it wasn't for Aiden Carney, Karen Reed would have gotten convicted. Okay. But you think that a judge is going to just give a slap on the wrist for all of these felonies in a cop's murder case where it's Massachusetts statute is to increase it? So he was facing like 10 years, but now it's 20 per felony that has witness intimidation because it was a case that you could go to prison for life. So it increases, and that's what's supposed to deter you from ever doing anything like this. So you think that a case like this, that the judge is just going to come back on a Boston cop's murder case. It's considered a murder case because that's what you tried Karen Reed for, is murder. And I just don't think that's going to happen. There's just no fucking way. It's not happening. And so I think that he is going to be I think that all of his sentences are going to be served concurrent, run with each other. And he's doing 10 and 20 years because they're all going to run together. So it's not going to be consecutive where you're going to, okay, I'm going to serve for Julie Nagel, then I'm going to serve for Colin. Like those are two 100% guilties. There's no getting out of those. I think Jennifer McCabe is guilty of witness intimidation. So I'm just saying, like, that's what it means when you serve consecutive versus concurrent. So I think that his sentences are going to run concurrently. And he's looking at, I think he's going to get sentenced to the 20, but then how it's all going to, by good behavior and by all the stuff, if you finish your certificates, he's looking at serving like 9.5 to 11 years in state prison. And I think that's fair. And you guys may be like, what the fuck? And I just think that you don't understand, like, this was a Boston cop's murder case. And the timeline that I just laid out for you guys, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew exactly what material he was using as his bullets, okay, as his weapon, and how he weaponized his platform to literally go at these people. Do you know an MC? No, I have no idea. I don't talk to people that have names that are fucking names of other people. Sorry, Brad. Melanie says, I just hope that he can't continue to do this shit from prison. DB, his lawyers will make sure trial is in Norfolk County. He playing you right now, a complete moron. Well, then maybe I'll just strike him right now, live. I think that's what I'll do. Oh, you might want to take me off really quick. You know what? If you get struck live, you know what happens? Bye-bye channel. All right, guys, we will see you on the next one. Thank you guys so much. Happy Friday. And again, happy Mother's Day. Cheers. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. Be kind. Turtleboy going to prison.